Welcome to another episode of Thursday Tea Time at 3:30. Today we are joined by Mert Damlapinar, Global E-commerce Lead, Future Tech at Mondelez International. We'll also hear from two members of our curated portfolio, Peak, who help businesses drive performance with decision intelligence, and Bolt, whose solution connects brands and their customers to gather research and insight on demand. All in 30 minutes, if I do my job correctly. And driving the slides today is Alina from Grey Hair Works, the Innovation and Partnerships Manager. Of course, if you ever need investment advice, help with challenging financial matters, or need some legal brain boxes, then look no further than our fabulous sponsors, Investec, Lewis Silkin, and Hayes McIntyre. They're genuinely happy to give any friend of Grey Hair Works free advice to help you sleep better at night. But before we dive in, just a quick reminder of why we produce these sessions and why we exist. We recognise that brands are inundated with people trying to sell to them all the time, with badly articulated, irrelevant jargon that rarely aligns with the priorities of their intended audiences, the corporate. Of course, brands are under pressure to solve problems, capitalise on opportunities, and exceed desired outcomes. And a great way of achieving this is using innovative digital solutions and services. And whilst that sounds straightforward, bringing these two together effectively and efficiently is not. So we took it upon ourselves to create a network of mature C-level executives from major brands, retailers and agencies, our Grey Hair Works associates, hailing from Huntington Beach to Hounslow, who help sift through the dross to find scale-up gems which make a genuine impact. We also use grey hairs, something I'm working towards, of course, to get the key corporate priorities and the heart of the problem fixed without a fuss, enabling us to create the best solutions to reduce headaches and deliver faster results with a focus on insights, marketing, digital, and e-commerce, which actually leads nicely onto our guest today. We're super lucky to be joined by Mert Damlapinar, as I said, the Global E-commerce Lead, Future Tech at Mondelez, and he's held senior e-commerce and digital roles across a range of large FMCG and CPG businesses. Mert, welcome.
Welcome, glad to be here. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, cool. So look, in the prep for this session, we started talking about the changing marketing relationship between retailers and FMCG businesses. And I know it's an area you're not only passionate about, but you're actively pushing. How is this relationship changing?
Well, yeah, right. It's a very hot topic in our organization as well as in the industry. And I'm at the center of it with one of my ongoing projects, as I mentioned in our previous talk. So what's going on? Let's dive in. In the past, retailers held the power in our relationship with the retail store footprint and the e-commerce and the first-party data and the purchase data they have in place. So therefore, brands, we were investing to amplify our sales. And the traditional marketing relationship between retailers and our CPG brands is shifting rapidly. And it's been happening in 3 stages. So phase 1, in a kindest words, it was monetization as a side hustle for the retailers. It all started with aggregated ad networks. A few larger retailers started using these networks to generate incremental revenue. And it worked so well that small retailers jumped on board as well. And we, as CPGs, appreciated the opportunity to amplify our products and promotions, although reporting awful fell short, I'll tell you that. And retailers enjoyed a new revenue stream with larger margins. That was phase 1. And in the last couple of years, we came into phase 2. Then came along the retail media network. So once those retailers and the CPG brands understood the power behind these aggregated ad networks, they literally took the next logical step and created their own standalone versions. And this allowed them to make sure their store brands, all these private labels, as well as CPG suppliers product, took to the center stage. So we suddenly start competing with private labels from the retailers. And finally, we're in phase 3 today. And we have this game-changing retail marketing platforms, or RMPs, which took this proven, powerful tool to the next level by seamlessly unifying media and incentives and driving it all with the shopper data at the core. And I'm saying this data very carefully because it's overlapping a lot with marketing and sales. I call it Bermuda Triangle. So nothing can be executed and measured without the data. Of course, the more we need and the more we can have, the better. So finally, with this phase 3, with the retail marketing platforms, we can unify the customer segmentation, marketing, and the attribution, which is a lot important to us, across all relevant touch points to drive greater loyalty, higher revenues, and better profitability. So I think that's what's happening. We're in phase 3, and we're looking at the capabilities out there to see where we can play and execute our campaigns efficiently.
So that completely makes sense to me. What's the consumer's role in this? Because of course we talk about the data that comes from the consumer, but does the consumer care? How does that change the way that the CPG approaches the consumer and from the retail side as well?
Well, yes, consumer care, but the awareness of this caring is a big question, because consumer wants more convenience and better experience while they shop, but they don't want to be poked out in the eye by seeing those buy nows or ads everywhere they go. So it should be really well tailored, it should be really well targeted, and it should make meaningful sense for the consumer. It should be at meaningful moments, meaningful times. So yes, again, data comes into play because retailers are trying to capitalize on the first party data they have, and CPGs trying to get more effective data to optimize their segmentation, audience, lookalikes, and also make those display ads search results meaningful times. But consumer cares if they can find convenience, right products at the right moment, and if they have a seamless experience. If it's clunky, if it's not seamless, or if it's not performing well, consumers have a lot to choose from nowadays. They don't have to be dependent on one brand, one retailer anymore, even though they have memberships, they can switch immediately. We saw this during the COVID. At the peak of the COVID, consumers, especially in Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, were very comfortable to switching between 3-4 platforms when the product they were trying to buy is out of stock. So this convenience, this flexibility is making it harder for retailers and CPGs to pinpoint and build their loyalty customer base, first-party database, and consumer will be the winner. Convenience, studies show over time, I think it's right now 86% of consumers are happy to choose convenience and experience over price and the product. So 5 Ps of marketing, traditional 5 Ps are changing rapidly. At least the weight distribution is changing. Before it was price, product, promotion, and placement, and placement was not that important. Let's put it in this way, convenience falls into the placement. So now placement and preference will become more and more important, which it wasn't before, over price and product. That's why it's very important for consumer. But once they understand this, once there's more personalization, once there's more direct connection, consumer will have definitely bigger advantage to make their voice heard. And it's going to be challenging for CPGs and retailers. We're going in that direction already.
Yeah, and actually that's a sentiment that was echoed by Anastasia, who from Danone, in one of our other tea times actually. And there is a huge amount of opportunity with it. Like, do you have, can you talk a bit more about the inherent challenges that come with doing that as a traditional CPG business? Right.
So the challenge for us as a CPG brand is, of course, we have brand recognition, we have market share, we have great connection and market position in different channels. But the more voice consumers will have in their journey, and they will have more control where they buy, what they buy, and when they buy it, we're going to struggle to fine-tuning our media spend because nobody has an infinite source. Obviously, everything is finite. So these retail media networks we opened the conversation with is going to play a large role enhancing the shopping experience and acting as a profit center for retailers, as well as CPG brands. We're investing heavily in direct-to-consumer, our brand sites, trying to build our first-party database while we increase our return on the investment with optimized retargeting. So this shift, this optimization between two ends of the spectrum, retailer databases and the brands that are trying to build their own databases, this is one of the long-term opportunities for us to reach out to consumers and continue having this meaningful relationship, because it's much more fluid now. There's many more digital touch points in the journey. It's not linear anymore. And it's not going to be easy and quick. So all CPG brands out there are experimenting with that and building their capabilities to collect first-party data, build smarter CDPs, and generate actionable insights for their media activations to improve their audiences and segmentation, lower the customer acquisition costs, and increase the ROI, so forth and so on. So that's why it's really going to be important for us to experiment with this technology, to bring as many as data sources, inbound data sources externally to this platform, and see what the intelligence, marketing intelligence looks like and how we can improve our activations. So we're looking at this as an opportunity So hopefully consumers, as they get comfortable with their data being used and shared after the cookie deprecation, it's going to be a very different opening play field. So we'll see how it evolves, and we're going to be positioning ourselves in the best possible spot.
Definitely. Just shifting the focus a little bit. Bigger businesses, whether it's retailers or CPGs, entertainment brands, responding to innovation, adapting quickly is not really has traditionally been sort of focus and what they're known for. How do Mondelez, someone like Mondelez, responding to innovative tech? How can they respond to change, adapt quickly? Yeah, what's the best way to capitalize on that opportunity from an internal perspective?
Right, like many other CPG brands in our league, let's say, we have a really, really great ecosystem. Let's call it an incubator kind of ecosystem for allowing startups and new CPG food and beverage companies to come and benefit from our industry know-how, benefit from our R&D capabilities. We call it Snack Futures. And we just launched a collab enrollment for 2022 for those startups to apply and get their grants and start working with Mondelez experts on their journey. So this is one area. We look at it as a sandbox, an e-commerce, DTC channel, brand sites of those startups is really, really robust platforms, regardless of their scale and size in the market. We'll look at them really, really test and learn opportunities while we also help them on their journey. Another one, we bringing a lot of new startups rolling out new products to the market and also new features of existing technologies to test and learn for agility over perfection kind of approach. And we're experimenting with those different markets. So we have many similarities between, let's say, 2-3 markets. Whatever we see in the Southeast Asia, we try to replicate in LA, Latin America, because there's relevances and similarities between two markets. Or we're not trying to implement every pilot in mature markets like North America or Western Europe. We're going smaller markets, more agile, more adaptive, smaller segments of different markets to see what pilots will have attraction. And we use also these technology test and learns as another way of innovating our execution, not on the product side always, but sometimes on the execution side, how we execute these technical features, digital capabilities. And on third one, of course, we're using on our product development. Now there's a lot of other technology with the retail marketing platform intelligence that I was referring to. We're listening to the social sentiment, trying to understand what's trending in the broader sense of the society, not only our customers. And we're using some of the technology with the artificial intelligence where we can find ingredient development for the social listening technology, whether we can come up with new flavors, whether we can come up with new colorations in the products or pack sizes. So the best source of the information, obviously, is the consumer itself. And we're trying to develop our social listening capabilities to get the information from the source, which is the consumer. And also we're trying to share this information in terms. So those 3 channels, Snack Futures as a startup incubator sandbox, and then agility over perfection mentality, test and learn. We try in smaller markets, then scale up into the larger mature markets. And third, listening to the broader consumer, not only our direct consumer, and bringing the social sentiment, bringing the trends into our R&D capabilities are 3 main avenues we look at those technologies in our innovation journey.
Crikey, that's a lot. It all sounds like the right thing because there's definitely huge opportunities to capitalize on this. It actually feels like a really good time to bring in one of the directors over from Peak, especially because they use data in a really smart way to infer how you make better decisions at scale. So, Tom, over to you.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Ben, and great to be here. So here we go, 3 minutes, let's go. So we are Peak, and we are a decision intelligence business, which I'm going to talk you through what some of that means now. So we believe, and I think we can prove, that businesses that make great decisions win. And we, the software category that we exist in is decision intelligence that we've created almost. And this is important because AI is a bit nebulous. And actually what this is, it's the commercial application of AI across a business's value chain for revenue growth and profits. So we are a SaaS platform for enterprises, and we do a number of things. We pull in data points from all across an enterprise, and I was actually a customer of Peak's before I joined Peak around 18 months ago, and this was a crucial sort of day one challenge for us, like bringing in these siloed, disparate data sources into one place to then start doing some intelligent stuff with them. Then we've got a large team of data scientists that help train and build models, and then crucially pushing them back into your business. Our platform via a number of connectors can push it back into your enterprise to make some of those influential decisions with. And as I referenced before there, the disparate data sources across silos in a business are not going to get us where we need to be. And the vision here with bringing everything together on the Peak platform is that you can pull together the worlds of the different teams across the business and crucially have them influence each other, a little bit like Mert was talking about there, in the CPG world, having marketing influence stock procurement and merchandising and vice versa. The businesses that are doing this effectively over the next 5 to 10 years will be unassailable winners. And we specialize in 3 major areas with the businesses that we work with: sales and marketing, demand planning, so all about the stock and movement of stock, and then in the supply chains, this could be inventory optimization through to a transport solution. And you can see on the screen there some of the cool metrics, uplifts, results that we've achieved with some of our businesses. I was proud to say, actually, before my time at Peak, I was with that business on the left. That's Foot Asylum, a multi-channel retailer in the UK, where we absolutely changed the game with AI with regards to segmenting our database and optimizing a personalized experience for our customers. The one in the middle is an allocation solution for a business called Speedy Hire, also in the UK, a PLC listed company that was improving their return on capital employed across their entire network. And then a global CPG firm on the right hand side there, where we've actually taken a lot of miles out of their transport operation, which has massive sustainability impacts. And then finally, I'll leave you with a spread of some of our very cool customers there. Thanks for listening.
Tom, thanks very much. Mert, some of this must sound very familiar to you. Do you ever got any questions for Tom?
As an agile person and practitioner, the first question would be, what use cases do you have similar FMCG brands like us, and how Mondelez can use some of those technologies? Have you been interacted with a Mondelez team in the past, or any other FMCG brand? What use cases would be relevant to us?
A good example would be Molson Coors, one of our customers, and we're helping them in the customer space, and then also we're moving stock around their network. But you were touching on the DTC, the direct to consumer stuff, Mert. What we are finding, because Peak as a business has a lot of retail experience, which positions us amazingly for helping large CPG enterprises like yourselves to enhance, nurture those direct to consumer journeys that ultimately serve a consumer in a modern, contemporary, little bit more personalized way, perhaps. So we're seeing definitely a lot of use cases with the big CPGs around that direct to consumer piece, but then typically it's always around stock. So optimizing inventory, reserve stocks. If you've got multiple DCs across the globe, which of course you guys have, then optimizing, in order to meet customer SLAs, what stocks should be held in destinations, again with buffer stocks and things. And then probably one of the hottest topics at the minute is about forecasting demand into the future, where you're not tying up working capital in inventory that you maybe didn't need so much of, but then crucially not leaving money on the table by missing opportunities. So optimizing your procurement processes as well is a hot one right now.
And the first one was quite easy compared to my second question, and I worked in one of the logos we see on the slide. So cool. How decision intelligence brings multiple data sources into the ecosystem, how does it work, and how reliable or accurate is this data sources when you bring, because it's a very common problem right now. We can bring as many as data we want, but if it's trash in, trash out, it's not accurate enough. So how do you filter this noise out?
Yeah, it's so true, man. So we the way that our platform works is that we can ingest data from, almost everywhere you have it. If you've got it in a data lake somewhere, we can connect to that. If you've got it in S3 buckets in AWS and we need to plug into that, that's okay. Down to we've taken data from flash drives, in businesses all the way through. But you're right, we have a big team in between that sort of ingestion and the training the models bit. We have a large team of engineers and data experts who help clean, unify, and get the data when needed ready for AI essentially. But what I will say is that nearly every business we work with sort of apologizes for the state of their data before we get to see it. There's nothing we haven't seen, you know, but normally there is so much value in some of the big, almost sometimes dormant data sources, systems of record, where actually we're just optimizing existing processes that the businesses can be doing, and it's using data sources that you'd be familiar with. Then when you get a bit maturer with it, you can start plugging in maybe third-party data sources, Nielsen stuff, the weather, you know, lots of different data sources that can just enhance the models then and optimize them further. Of course, it's machine learning, so it's always improving over time.
Tom, that's awesome. I'm sure you'll have more questions for Tom, which we can facilitate afterwards. But one of the other areas that you touched on was, of course, was the view of the consumer and how you understand exactly what they feel, what they're doing, and how they're responding to the type of activities you're doing. So this is a really good time to bring in Esther, the head of innovation from Bolt. Esther.
Thank you, Ben, and hi, Mert. It's nice to hear you, to hear your insights. So as many startups, Bolt was born from a big idea. Before joining Bolt, I was at Unilever and Reckitt, and there I've led a number of innovation workshops, as I'm sure you did. We were spending budgets of millions, bringing teams together to create killer ideas really fast. But then at the time, there was no solution to help us understand whether these ideas had any chance to succeed with the right audience. And we know that this understanding is paramount. 9 out of 10 new products launched don't stay on the shelves for the second year, and especially after the pandemic, but not only, also with the changes, Mert, you were mentioning have been happening in the retailer ecosystem. There is a growing need to help corporates and retailers with decisions so that they don't take a leap in the dark. They keep testing and learning and pivot ideas to adapt to ever-changing consumer behaviors. So from this big idea, Bolt was born. It helps making access to high-quality consumer insight faster and more affordable. So what traditional market research agency churn out in 6 weeks, we can stretch in 5-6 days in a more cost-effective and high-quality way. And to sum up what we do, we are a disruptive end-to-end consumer insight platform. We work with B2B and B2C clients, and we help them find the right target audience to test their ideas, comms, or business model. We contact real people that genuinely care about the topic as they follow it on social media or because we know they've searched it online. And through our Bolt Query, our flexible survey platform, we cover various types of key research needs through the funnel. Then using Bolt Audiences, which is a combination of social media and advertising network, we reach out to behaviorally targeted consumers that are already interested in the topic. And we do that really fast. So just to give you an idea, a country representative study in the UK can take only 24 hours to be completed. But the most important bit, you get to take decisions real time, because as your consumer are sharing their feedback, those are immediately available on our Bolt Intelligent dashboard to really turn the store into a consumer engine and ultimately help you taking those decisions the same day. Our platform is really flexible and global. We cover any research needs and with capabilities in more than 100 countries. But let me bring it to life to a recent client example. So Pepsi needed to evaluate the effectiveness of a media campaign, which was an online concert that they aired during the pandemic. And via Bolt Audiences, we retarget exactly the same audience of their campaign and asked a few questions, at the same time comparing that response with the control group. We measured engagement, the impact of celebrity involvement, and the overall performance. And this allowed Pepsi within a week or so to pivot the media plan and campaign delivery and optimize it before the next event. And this increased their cost efficiency by 25%. We work with big global clients. You'll see some familiar names there. And we cover anything from UNA brand tracking, media measurements, and innovation. Of course, all sorts of retailer journey understanding, which I think would be relevant to you. So I'll pause here and answer any question you might have, Mert.
How is the audience rewarded? Because it's a very large audience with strong penetration.
Yes, I love that you asked this question. So we try to stay away from the usual reward model. because we know that traditional agencies that use panel-based solution tend to offer a reward no matter what. And this creates almost a professional respondent behavior of people that are not engaged in the topic, they're in early for the money, and this drives low quality response. So what we do, we rely on intrinsic motivation, because we find people that based on the real behavior, not just what they say, are interested in the topics we are researching. And so they want to spontaneously share in an organic way, like they will do on social media, what they feel, only for harder to reach audiences where it's really, incidence is really low. Then we might offer a reward, but just in a randomized way, so it's not automated and linked to the response. And by doing that, we make sure that, again, we get only good quality consumers in to get amazing quality out.
And what's the most popular format, or both popular and also the accurate reporting format? You see that your brand partners resonating the most with them coming back for more trials.
You mean in terms of research needs?
In terms of methodology or the format of serving the audience?
Yeah, so what we see is that sometimes our clients, they come in through, concept testing or idea testing. But what we see more and more is that since we can really offer this strategic consultancy, because we have the tech, but also seasoned insight professionals in our team, they start coming to us with more strategic questions throughout the funnel. So it might start with a really deep usage and attitudes, consumer journey understanding, even quite detailed segmentation in which we merge behavioral data with your own internal segmentation screening questions to really get to the consumer that really matter to you. And then starting from that strategic understanding, then we go through the funnel, test idea among those audiences, and test the pack and the name, etc. So it can really fit well in agile processes.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but any unique insight that you delivered, produced, where it wasn't available in the mainstream with other methodologies available to us?
So can you say it again?
Did you happen to produce any unique insight, any unique trend within those campaigns that wasn't already available in the market with other tools?
Yes.
Something differentiator that's unique only to Bolt?
Yeah, so what we do, since we get these high quality engaged respondents, we try, is almost, even though it's a quantitative technique, we also mix qualitative insights in there, because these people are so engaged that they send you paragraph long feedbacks, open-ended. And so we can almost mix a quantitative understanding based on the what with a really in-depth understanding of the why, because they are engaged in the topic, they really come through with high quality insight. And when you merge, big consumer segmentation with the depth of insight, you can almost explain why consumers are behaving differently in different geographies. So going one step further, I mean, in my experience, sometimes you see segmentation tells you Japan is different from the US, and you don't know why that happens. So we give that additional layer of consultancy that brings you already the why, and then helps you create innovation that are relevant.
Right, really interesting. I'd like to use some interface. That would be cool. Thank you.
Cool. Look, I'm so sorry to say, but our tea time is nearly up. So yeah, tough to digest and summarize all the points that Mert made. But I think for me, there was a few things that were really interesting. In this new world where in the changing relationship between the CPGs and the retailers, still maintaining a meaningful relationship direct with consumers is going to be paramount. Use smart use of data, but also testing new technologies. And a line that I'm probably going to steal, but I hope many large corporates adopt, is striving for agility over perfection when it comes down to testing new ideas. That was very cool, Mert. We also heard from Peak about how to use data to inform decision-making at scale and how that can drive significant results. And Bolt showed us how simple it is to bring real customer research and insight into workflows, and how that gives business results. If you've missed one of our sessions and would like to access a recording, just let us know, and do keep out for comms around our next Tea Time event. Thank you as ever to our sponsors, to our guests, Mert, Esther and Tom, and thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.